Jack stepped briskly down the corridor of Earth's Interstellar Relations Bureau, his mind racing with anticipation. Today was unlike any other in human history, the day they would meet the Zolorians face to face. As he entered the command center, the buzz of excited and anxious chatter filled the air. "Jack, over here," called a voice. It was Lucas, his old friend and colleague, standing beside a large digital screen displaying the approaching Zolorian ship. "Lucas, can you believe this is actually happening?" Jack said, clapping him on the shoulder. Lucas grinned, his eyes twinkling with excitement. "After years of preparation, it's about time. How do you think they'll be? Smart, definitely. Arrogant, probably," Jack replied, staring at the screen. The sleek, metallic design of the Zolorian ship was unlike any human-made spacecraft. As the alien ship landed, the command center quieted. Everyone's eyes were glued to the screen showing the landing pad outside. The door of the Zolorian ship hissed open, and out stepped their delegation, their movements graceful and assured. Jack and Lucas, along with a team of human diplomats and scientists, walked out to meet them. The air was cool, and the sky was a clear blue, a perfect day for a monumental meeting. "Welcome to Earth," Jack began, stepping forward with a smile. "I'm Jack, and this is Lucas. We've looked forward to this day." The lead Zolorian, tall and imposing with shimmering skin, nodded. "I am Soren. Your planet is much as we expected. Quaint." Lucas bristled at the comment, but Jack gave him a subtle nod to let it go. "We hope to learn a lot from each other," Jack continued. "Indeed," Soren replied, his tone non-committal. His gaze shifted between Jack and Lucas, as if assessing them. "We understand humans have made strides in technology, but we are keen to see if they match Zolorian standards." Jack exchanged a quick glance with Lucas. The challenge was clear, and so was the slight. They walked the Zolorians through the facility, explaining human advancements and collaborations in space technology and environmental conservation. Jack made sure to emphasize the cooperative nature of human endeavors, subtly countering the Zolorians' earlier insinuation of human primitiveness. As they showed Soren and his team the main control room, filled with state-of-the-art technology and bustling with Earth's finest minds, Jack felt a swell of pride. "Your operations are more advanced than we were led to believe," Soren finally conceded, his eyes scanning the room. "We have many surprises up our sleeves," Jack replied with a smile. "Humanity thrives on innovation. We're excited to share more with you." Soren nodded slowly, his expression unreadable. "We shall see. There is much to observe and discuss." As the tour continued, Jack pulled Lucas aside. "They're testing the waters, trying to get a read on us. We need to be on our game." Lucas nodded. "Let's show them what humans are really capable of." The day ended with more polite exchanges and a formal dinner. As Jack observed the Zolorians interacting cautiously with human officials, he knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had much to prove, but he was ready. They all were. Chapter 2. Underestimated. In the weeks following the Zolorians' arrival, Jack found himself increasingly involved in the interstellar politics that dictated Earth's reception rooms and strategy meetings. He stood by a large conference table, laser pointers and digital screens set up around the room, preparing for another day of delicate negotiations. "Morning, Jack," greeted Michael, another senior strategist, as he entered the room. "Heard you've been drafted for the tech showcase later today." Jack nodded, shuffling some notes. "That's right. If the Zolorians think our tech is primitive, it's time we changed their minds." Michael chuckled. "I'd pay good money to see the look on Soren's face when you pull the curtain back on the quantum synchronizer." As they prepared, Dr. Alan Reed, the project's lead scientist, joined them, his face a mask of concentration. Everything needs to be perfect today, Alan stated. The synchronizer isn't just a piece of tech. It's a leap in quantum computing that could revolutionize space travel. The trio reviewed every detail of the presentation, ensuring that the technology was not only impressive in function but also in presentation. As the hour approached, the room filled with other team members and several Zalorians, including Soren. "Welcome," Jack began as the lights dimmed. "Today, we are excited to share a breakthrough that represents the pinnacle of human ingenuity and collaborative spirit among our scientists." Soren, with his typical stoic expression, nodded slightly. "We are eager to see what you have developed," he said, his voice betraying a hint of genuine curiosity. Michael took the lead, detailing the theoretical framework, while Alan prepared the live demonstration. The quantum synchronizer, a sleek, silver device, hummed quietly as it powered up, its core glowing with a soft blue light. "As you can see," Michael continued, "the synchronizer uses quantum entanglement to transmit data instantaneously across vast distances, far surpassing current Zalorian models based on what you've shared with us." Soren raised an eyebrow, his first visible reaction of the day. "Instantaneous, you say? Our fastest transmission speeds still face light-speed delays." Alan took over, demonstrating a real-time data exchange between the conference room and a satellite in Martian orbit. "No delay," he confirmed proudly. The Zalorians whispered among themselves, their eyes locked on the screens displaying the live feed from Mars. Jack decided to push their advantage. "We believe this technology can be adapted for various uses, including medical, military, and environmental applications. It's not just a tool. It's a gateway to new possibilities." Soren finally smiled, a rare break in his usually impassive demeanor. "I must admit, this is beyond what we were told of human capabilities. We may have underestimated you." Jack and his team exchanged satisfied looks. This was exactly the response they hoped for. After the Zalorians left, the room erupted in quiet celebration. "Well done, everyone," Jack said, clapping Michael and Alan on the backs. "Today was a win for human innovation." "Yeah, but there's a long road ahead," Michael replied. "Soren's admission doesn't mean they respect us yet. It's just the beginning." Jack nodded, his mind already racing with plans and possibilities. "Let's keep the momentum going. We've got more to show, and I have a feeling the Zalorians have only just started paying attention." As they cleared the room, their discussion turned to future strategies and upcoming projects. Jack felt a surge of purpose. The path to earning Zalorian respect was long and fraught with challenges, but he was ready to lead his team through it, every step of the way. Chapter 3: The Cloaking Project. Jack, Lucas, and Michael sat in a secured conference room, surrounded by blueprints and holographic displays. The atmosphere was charged with a sense of urgency. They were about to embark on one of Earth's most ambitious projects, the development of a stealth technology that could cloak ships and even entire bases. "Okay, let's get this straight," Jack began, pointing to the schematic on the screen. "The cloaking device needs to be more than just functional. It needs to be undetectable to Zalorian sensors. Alan's quantum tech was a start, but we need to push further." Lucas, who had been poring over sensor data, looked up. "I think I've cracked part of their detection methodology. It's based on a spectrum we barely use. If we can tailor our cloak to this, we might just become invisible to them." Michael drummed his fingers on the table thoughtfully. "That's solid, Lucas. But implementing that on a large scale, we're going to need more than just a prototype. We need something deployable and reliable." As the men discussed, Dr. Eric Tan, a material scientist, joined them with his latest findings. "I've developed a composite material that can bend light and other electromagnetic waves more effectively," he explained, laying out samples on the table. Jack examined the material, impressed. "Eric, this could be exactly what we need. Can it be produced in the quantities we're talking about?" Eric nodded. "It's scalable, but the production facilities will need some modifications. It won't be cheap or quick. Let's prioritize it." "We can't afford delays," Jack decided, turning to Michael. "Coordinate with Eric on the logistics. We need those facilities online as soon as possible." As the meeting progressed, they assigned tasks and formed smaller teams to tackle each component of the cloaking technology. Lucas was put in charge of sensor evasion, Michael would oversee production scaling, and Jack would handle overall strategy and liaise with Earth's leadership for support and funding. After hours of discussion, the team took a much-needed break. Standing by the coffee machine, Jack and Lucas shared a quiet moment. "Think Soren suspects what we're up to?" Lucas asked, handing a cup to Jack. Jack shrugged, sipping his coffee. "He knows we're not sitting back. But by the time they realize what we've accomplished, it'll be too late." The weeks turned into months as the project moved forward at an unprecedented pace. Test after test, revision after revision, the team worked tirelessly. Finally, they were ready for a field test. Gathered in a remote testing ground, the team watched as a drone equipped with a prototype cloaking device took off. All eyes were on the monitors displaying the drone's signal and the feedback from various sensors. "Activating cloak in 3, 2, 1, Lucas announced. The drone vanished from the screens, undetectable even on their advanced sensors. A round of applause broke out among the team. "It works," Michael said, relief and triumph in his voice. "It actually works." Jack couldn't help but smile broadly. "Great job, everyone. Let's prepare for the next phase. We show this to the Zalorians at the upcoming summit. It's time they see what humans are truly capable of." As the team disbanded, Jack stayed back, looking at the empty sky where the drone had disappeared. This project could change everything, not just their standing with the Zalorians, but the future of human space exploration and security. The weight of their success felt immense, but so did the potential. He was ready to take that next step. Chapter 4. Unexpected Ally. Inside the bustling cafe of Earth's Interstellar Relations Bureau, Jack sat across from Lucas, both sipping on their coffees after a long morning briefing. The room buzzed with the low murmur of other teams discussing projects and negotiations. "Lucas, this cloaking tech could really tip the scales. But we need to play it smart. We can't let on how far we've actually come," Jack said, his eyes scanning the room cautiously. Lucas nodded, his expression serious. "Agreed. The less they know, the better. But we're not just dealing with tech here. We're dealing with perceptions. How do we change how they see us without revealing our hand?" As they pondered this, a figure approached their table. It was Lyra, the Zalorian Jack had met during the initial delegations. Her presence was a surprise, her expression unreadable. "May I join you?" Lyra asked, her tone neutral but curious. Jack exchanged a quick glance with Lucas before nodding. "Please, have a seat." Lyra sat down, placing her own drink on the table. "I've been meaning to speak with you both. It's clear you have been making significant advancements, more than what's shared in the official meetings." Lucas raised an eyebrow. "What makes you say that?" "Observation. And unlike some of my peers, I do not underestimate human ingenuity," Lyra replied, her gaze sharp. "I am here because I believe our future could benefit from genuine collaboration, not just formalities." Jack leaned back, assessing her sincerity. "That's a refreshing perspective, Lyra. What kind of collaboration are you thinking about?" "I am interested in your technology, particularly in how it can be adapted for peaceful applications." My people focus so much on control and power. Perhaps it's time we explore beyond that." Lucas looked at Jack, then back at Lyra. "And what do you offer in return?" "Information. Insights into Zalorian technology and politics. Think of it as building bridges," Lyra suggested. Jack considered her offer. Forming an alliance, even an unofficial one, with a Zalorian could provide them with a much-needed edge. "It sounds promising, Lyra, but we need to be careful. If we agree to this, it stays between us." "Understood," Lyra nodded. "I believe this could lead to better outcomes for both our people." For the next hour, they discussed potential areas of cooperation, outlining a tentative plan to share knowledge and resources. As they talked, Jack felt a cautious optimism. Lyra's proposal could indeed open new doors, but the risks were significant. Trust would be their most fragile commodity. After Lyra left, Lucas turned to Jack. "What do you think?" "It's a gamble," Jack admitted, "but it's one that could give us a real advantage. We keep our cards close, share enough to keep her engaged, and see where this leads." "Agreed. And Jack, be careful," Lucas added. "We don't know her full agenda yet." Jack nodded, his mind already racing with possibilities and plans. This unexpected alliance could change the dynamic of human-Zalorian relations. But it also meant venturing into uncharted waters, with every step requiring precision and caution. As they left the cafe, Jack felt the weight of the decisions ahead. They were playing at a level that would require not just technological innovation, but diplomatic finesse and strategic foresight. The challenge was immense, but so were the potential rewards. Chapter 5. Decloaking. The Grand Summit Hall was filled with delegates from various planets, the air heavy with anticipation and the subtle hum of interstellar dialects. Jack and Lucas stood near the back, their eyes scanning the crowd, while Michael coordinated last-minute details with the tech team through his communicator. "Everything's set for the reveal?" Jack asked, his voice low. Lucas nodded, a tight smile on his face. "The cloaking demo will blow them away. They won't see it coming, literally." As they prepared, Dr. Alan Reed joined them, his face a picture of focused calm. "We're ready to go on your cue, Jack. The remote pilots are in position." Jack surveyed the hall, noting the position of the Zalorian delegates, including Lyra, who gave him a subtle nod. "Let's wait for the right moment, after Soren's speech. That's when we hit them with the demo." The speeches began, each leader presenting their views on the future of interstellar cooperation. Finally, Soren took the stage, his voice echoing through the hall with a tone of veiled superiority. "As we advance, it is crucial that lesser technologies do not hinder our progress. We must lead, not follow." Jack exchanged a look with Lucas. "That's our cue. Let's ready the demo." Lucas discreetly tapped his communicator. "Initiate sequence," he whispered into it. Outside, hidden from view by the advanced cloaking technology, several human ships hovered. On Lucas's command, they began to decloak, shimmering into visibility just above the summit hall. Back inside, Jack stepped forward, interrupting Soren. "With all due respect, we believe leadership can be shared. Allow us to demonstrate." All eyes turned outward as the walls of the summit hall became transparent, revealing the previously invisible ships. Murmurs of shock and awe rippled through the crowd as every delegate looked up in disbelief. Soren's face hardened as he turned to Jack. "What is this, human?" Jack smiled, his confidence peaking. "This is human innovation at its finest, our stealth technology, capable of cloaking not just ships but entire fleets." Michael joined them, adding, "We've developed this not as a weapon, but as a means to ensure that all civilizations can coexist without fear of undue surveillance or preemptive strikes. The hall erupted in discussions, some voices raised in concern, others in admiration. Jack continued, "We believe that by sharing our technologies, we can foster a greater understanding and truly equitable progress." Lyra stood, her voice clear and strong. "This technology is proof of human ingenuity and their commitment to peace and mutual respect. We, the Zalorians, must reconsider our stance and acknowledge this achievement." Soren, after a moment of tense silence, nodded slowly. "It appears we have underestimated human capabilities. We are open to discussing this further." As the summit broke into smaller discussion groups, Jack and his team were approached by numerous delegates, eager to learn more about the technology and the possibilities it opened. Lucas leaned over to Jack, a grin spreading across his face. "Looks like we've made our point." Jack nodded, watching as Lyra conversed with other Zalorians, her arguments passionate and persuasive. "We did more than that, Lucas. We changed the game." As the summit continued, Jack felt a profound shift in the room's dynamics. Their demonstration had not only showcased human technological prowess, but had also catalyzed a shift towards genuine interstellar dialogue. The path forward would be complex, but for the first time, humanity stood on equal footing with the star's greatest civilizations. Chapter 6. Zalorian Response. After the stunning reveal at the summit, the corridors of the Interstellar Relations Bureau were abuzz with discussions and negotiations. Jack, Lucas, and Michael gathered in a small, private room to discuss the next steps. "Soren didn't expect that, did he?" Michael chuckled, pouring himself a cup of coffee. "No, he did not," Jack replied, a slight smile on his face. "But we need to be careful now. We've shown our hand, and the Zalorians will be regrouping. They'll come back with a strategy. They always do." Lucas nodded, tapping on his tablet, reviewing the latest updates from the summit talks. "I've been monitoring the Zalorian channels. There's a lot of chatter, some shock, some respect. Lyra's been instrumental in swaying some of that in our favor." The door opened, and Dr. Alan Reed walked in, his eyes bright with excitement. "You should have seen the technical forums. Our cloaking tech is all they're talking about. But there's a lot of concern about the implications for security and surveillance." Jack leaned forward, his expression turning serious. "That's our next challenge. We need to frame this technology as a tool for peace, not a threat. Alan, can you put together a technical presentation? Something that emphasizes the defensive benefits and the safeguards we've built in?" "Absolutely," Alan responded, pulling out his notebook. "I think if we're transparent about the capabilities, and maybe even offer to share some aspects of the technology, it could ease their concerns." Lucas looked up from his tablet. "That's a good angle. Meanwhile, I'll keep an eye on the Zalorian military channels. If there's any hint they're planning to counter our tech with something aggressive, we'll need to be ready to pivot our strategy." As the men discussed, Jack's communicator buzzed. It was a message from Lyra, requesting a private meeting. "I need to step out," Jack informed the group. "Lyra wants to talk. This could be important." Meeting Lyra in a quiet garden adjoining the conference center, Jack found her looking unusually contemplative. "Jack, today was a victory for Earth, but it stirred deeper currents among my people," she began without preamble. "What kind of currents?" Jack asked, alert to the undercurrents of her words. "There are factions within the Zalorian leadership that see your demonstration not just as a show of technology, but as a challenge to our superiority. They're afraid it might inspire others to test our limits," Lyra explained. Jack took a moment to process this. "How do you suggest we handle this?" "We need to keep the dialogue open. Maybe a joint venture, something that shows this technology can benefit more than just Earth. If we can demonstrate that it enhances Zalorian security as well, it might calm the waters, Lyra proposed. That's a solid idea, Jack agreed. Let's draft a proposal for a joint security initiative. We could start with something small, a test project. Lyra nodded, relief evident on her face. I'll start laying the groundwork on my side. But Jack, be cautious. Not all Zalorians are as open to cooperation as I am. Back in the meeting room, Jack relayed the conversation to his team. We need to keep pushing the narrative of cooperation. Lyra thinks a joint venture could help. Thoughts? Michael leaned back in his chair, considering. It's a risk, sharing tech with a potential rival. But the benefits could outweigh the risks if we manage it right. It could set a precedent for future cooperation. Lucas added, and it keeps us in the dialogue. We're not just reacting to Zalorian moves, we're shaping them. All right, Jack concluded, setting his jaw with determination. Let's draft that proposal. This is our chance to turn a breakthrough into a lasting advantage. We've got their attention. Now let's show them what peace through strength really means. Chapter 7. New Beginnings. In the aftermath of the successful demonstration and ongoing discussions, the Earth-Zalorian joint venture took shape more rapidly than anyone had anticipated. The conference room at the Interstellar Relations Bureau was abuzz with activity as Jack, Lucas, and Michael, along with a team of experts, worked on finalizing the proposal for the Joint Security Initiative. Okay, let's go over this one more time, Jack said, scanning the document projected on the screen. The project will start with a shared surveillance grid using our cloaking technology. It's a show of good faith and a practical demonstration of the tech's defensive applications. Lucas, who had been fine-tuning the technical aspects, nodded. The grid will cover both human and Zalorian space, with equal access to information. It should alleviate any fears of misuse and demonstrate our commitment to transparency. Michael looked up from his notes. We'll need to establish clear protocols for data sharing and conflict resolution. It's vital that this operates under joint oversight. Dr. Alan Reed, who had joined the meeting, added, I've included a section on technological safeguards. It outlines how each side can secure their data against potential leaks or unauthorized access. As they discussed, the door opened and Lyra entered, her presence commanding attention. Gentlemen, I've come with news. The Zalorian Council has preliminarily approved the concept of the joint venture. They are particularly interested in the surveillance grid idea. That's excellent, Lyra, Jack responded with a smile. We were just going over the safeguards and oversight mechanisms. Your timing couldn't be better. Lyra took a seat, her eyes scanning the document on the screen. This looks comprehensive. I believe it addresses many of the concerns my people have. Moving forward with this could significantly change the dynamics of our relations. Lucas chimed in. We've also considered a joint task force to monitor the grid. It would consist of an equal number of human and Zalorian personnel. The idea is to foster not just cooperation but real teamwork. Lyra considered this. A joint task force is a bold step. It will take some convincing, but I think it's a move in the right direction. The discussion shifted to implementation timelines, resource allocation, and training for the task force. Jack facilitated the conversation, ensuring every detail was scrutinized and agreed upon. As the meeting drew to a close, Michael leaned back in his chair, looking between Jack and Lyra. This is more than just a security project, isn't it? It's about setting a precedent for how humans and Zalorians can work together. Exactly, Jack agreed. It's about building trust and proving that our two civilizations can do more together than we can apart. Lyra stood, gathering her documents. I'll take our discussions today back to the Council. I'm optimistic they'll see the potential here. Jack, your leadership on this has been invaluable. After Lyra left, Lucas turned to Jack. You think this will work? That we can really trust the Zalorians? Jack pondered the question for a moment. Trust is built one step at a time, Lucas. This project, this joint task force, it's a step. Maybe one of many. But it's the right direction. As the team packed up their materials, the weight of their responsibilities lingered in the air. They were not just negotiating a project. They were laying the groundwork for a new era of interstellar cooperation. The challenges ahead were daunting, but the potential to forge a lasting peace was a chance worth taking. As they left the conference room, the resolve in each step spoke of their readiness to meet these challenges head-on. Chapter 8. Legacy of the Cloaked Fleet. Months had passed since the initial agreement on the Joint Surveillance Project, and today marked the inauguration of the Joint Task Force's command center, located at a neutral site between human and Zalorian territories. Jack, Michael, Lucas, and Dr. Alan Reed stood among a diverse crowd of humans and Zalorians, all gathered to witness the commencement of a new chapter in interstellar relations. Jack looked over at his team, a sense of pride swelling within him. "Can you believe we're here?" he asked, his voice tinged with emotion. "It's been quite the journey," Michael responded, surveying the room filled with both species. "From doubt to trust, and from plans to reality." Lucas, ever the skeptic, added, "Let's see how it pans out. But yeah, it's a good start." The ceremony began with speeches from various dignitaries. When it was Jack's turn to speak, he stepped up to the podium, cleared his throat, and addressed the crowd. Today isn't just about launching a project. It's about celebrating the power of collaboration. This task force and this center are testaments to what we can achieve when we work together, respecting and learning from each other's strengths. Soren, who had softened over the months of negotiation and collaboration, followed Jack. "I must admit, when we first learned of human stealth technology, we saw it as a challenge to our superiority. Now, we view it as a pillar for mutual security and prosperity." After the speeches, the group toured the command center, where state-of-the-art technology from both worlds was integrated seamlessly. Jack and Soren led the tour, explaining how the systems worked and how they ensured transparency and equal access for all parties involved. Dr. Alan Reed pointed out the technical integrations to a group of Zalorian engineers. "Here you see a combination of human quantum encryption and Zalorian sensor technology. Together, they create a security system that is both robust and fair." As the tour concluded, Lucas pulled Jack aside. "You did good, Jack. We all did. But keep your eyes open. We've built something great here, but it's always fragile." Jack nodded in agreement. "I know. We'll keep monitoring, adjusting, and improving. This isn't the end of our efforts. It's just the beginning." Later, at a small, informal gathering, Lyra approached Jack with a smile. "You were right, Jack. Showing our technologies, sharing our fears, and building something together. It changed the narrative completely." "It did," Jack agreed. "And it'll continue to change. Both our peoples will see that collaboration isn't just beneficial. It's essential." As the event wound down, Jack, Lucas, and Michael stood looking out over the command center's main floor. Operators from both races worked together, their actions coordinated and efficient. "Think this will last?" Michael asked, watching the floor. "It has to," Jack replied. "Too much depends on it. But look at them, humans and Zalorians, working side by side. Who would have thought?" Lucas chuckled. "Not me, that's for sure. But I'm glad to see it. Let's make sure it sticks." As they left the command center, the weight of their responsibility was matched only by their determination. This project was more than a security measure. It was a bridge between two worlds, a foundation for a future where humanity and Zalorians could share not just technology, but a destiny. Jack felt the gravity and the greatness of what they had begun, ready to face whatever challenges and opportunities lay ahead.